Hello, my name is Rashid Brown. I'm a junior and a criminal justice and sociology major, and my group decided to do our presentation on the gender pay gap um, and how it exists. The other people in my group are Kelson Kingry, Nia Sample, and Brianna Key, and we're group number two. Okay, so for the most part, uh, I did the pay gap as far as statistics and how it relates to race. And it actually was pretty surprising. I thought that white males would make more, but statistics actually show that Asian men make more than anyone else. So I just thought that was pretty interesting. But for the most part, the most efficient strategy I used was the Boolean operators and the crap method. Um, I just kind of used it for all of the statistics that I went through. I looked through it. I used Google and Bing to find out whether the statistics were actually factual and to proofread a little bit more and get a little bit more information on it to actually tell me whether it was a reliable source or not. Um, so there are a lot of arguments. By the way, another part of my paper that I did for my part is actually the part where people try to disprove the gender pay gap. And a lot of the basic arguments for that are that the pay gap doesn't actually exist, which it does, but they have statistics out there that say that women take more annual leave, so it causes them to get paid more or less, and it's usually due to pregnancies that go on during the year for certain women. Um, and as far as the race statistic goes, they say that Asian men and white men are just more likely to get better paying jobs because they actually go to school a lot more and get a better education, statistically speaking. So that's why there's the race gap. And the race gap doesn't really affect men as much, but it does affect them. But as far as the gender plays, it affects them twice as much. So if you're a white woman, you're not affected as much. If you're an Asian woman, you're not affected even more. But if you are a black woman, you're heavily affected. At least 5% more of there's at least 5% more of a gap between you and a man. So, yeah. Um, I have a chart up here. And it's the woman's earnings as a percentage of white men's earnings, and it's by race and ethnicity in 2016. You can see up here that they're pretty much almost 20-30% off from the top competitor for pay, which is Asian people. And Asian females sometimes even make more than white males. So it's like the pay gap is all over the place. But if you're a Hispanic, Latina, or black female, you're actually making a lot less than anyone else. So it's pretty interesting that they have that up there. This was posted by the AUW, or the AAUW, which is the American Association of University of Women. The next one is just the national pay gap average by country. And you can see that in the United States, the average is pretty much 20% between um, a black man and a white man. So the percentage varies from there. If that's the average gap between a black man and a white man, then between a female, it's going to be a little bit more. And between a female who's another race other than white or Asian, it's going to be even more. Um, and my accepted sources, the nwlc.org. It's the website for National Women's Law Center. It was actually very helpful in doing my part of the project. The website itself specializes in women equality and explaining the troubles and struggles against women. So, yeah, I got a lot of information from that one. Another accepted source was EPI. Relevance of that website was that it explains the social norms of women and how that may deter their pay from having a normal pay of that of a man's. And then OECD.org is just a government website that shows statistics. So that's where I got all my statistics from. All of my rejected sources, the reason I rejected any of the sources, so going for all of them, is because none of them really pertain to our subject. Either that or they would try to speak about the pay gap as if it didn't exist. So that's why I have these rejected sources. Yeah.